Okay, well, I just got back from seeing Video Games Live, which is a video game soundtrack concert, a symphonic concert. They've got a symphony there, and if you don't know, it's basically arranged and actually, I'm not sure what the extent of Tommy Tallarico's involvement is. He's basically the MC of this entire show, and basically the guy who's on stage introducing all the songs. He's playing electric guitar through almost all the songs through many of the songs. I'd say about 60 to 70% of the songs. But yeah, Tommy Tallarico is a really famous video game composer. I believe he was the first. I think he's the first composer to release a soundtrack, like a CD. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys will correct me because I'm actually not too up on it. I'm actually learning more about it because I've been collecting a lot of video game music lately, just as incidental music for my reviews, and so I'm actually learning a lot about it. And I really wanted to go see Video Games Live. So this was a lot of fun, and I have not been to a concert in not since high school. I can tell you that. I went to Ozfest in high school, and that was 1998. um, so yeah, I think Tommy Tallarico was I think he was the first one to use electric guitar, like recorded electric guitar in a song for the Terminator Sega CD game. I think that was one that stuck out in my mind. The one that sticks out for me, where I first really heard Tommy Tallarico's name attached to a project, was Advent Rising, which was this catastrophic failure of a game. If you remember Advent Rising, it was this game that had like $1 million contest attached to it, and I can't even remember the details. Nobody does because when they started this concept, when they started this contest, something went wrong, and they basically had to like void the entire concept. But yeah, Tommy Tallarico did the soundtrack for Advent Rising, which is far and away the best part of Advent Rising, which, when you get right down to it, was basically a shallow Halo knockoff. But neither here nor there. Video Games Live, a whole lot of fun. I'm trying to describe. Let me describe the event to you as I perceived it when I went there. It was at the Mesa Arts Center. Mesa is not exactly the happening concert central of the world, and this is kind of niche market. It's kind of a smaller market, and so my first thought when I went down there was Mesa Arts Center is kind of a small venue. And it is. It was bigger than I thought, but still pretty small, if that makes sense. So I went down there, and the first problem was it was a smallish size theater, and it was about 60% full. There were a lot of empty seats, and the balcony was pretty much abandoned, which was kind of surprising, actually, when I went down there. Was not expecting to see I've an empty theater, which was kind of shocking. Yeah, I remember I've been to a lot of events that were more obscure than Video Games Live that had more people attending. So I was really stunned to see not many people showed up for this. They were big fans, though. It was a raucous crowd, and that's good because as a performer. I've performed for audiences in dinner theater as small as 4 and up to about 60. And I've done the stand up in big rooms. I've done Q&A in small venues and relatively, well, I guess moderate sized venues where you've seen the stand up. A few hundred people in there. And that's about what was in here, was kind of a few hundred people, like probably 200, 250. Not that many people. Maybe I'm undershooting, but yeah, it can. I'm not sure how much that affects these guys. I've had a lot of no shows. When we've been booked for dinner theater, a lot of people didn't show up, and so when there's a small house, it does affect you. Your morale kind of goes down when you're performing to kind of a half-empty house. So you get over that, because you start to realize you start to do this for yourself, as a performer. So you do this to better yourself and to kind of get better at what you do, not necessarily to stroke your own ego by like, oh, all these people are here to see me. But I wonder how much that bothered them because, to be frank, if the house is any indication as to the popularity of video games live, they're not coming back next year. There's no point. That's kind of what I was getting at when the whole size and the whole morale thing was. Tommy said at the end, "Well, we'll see you guys next year." I don't know about that because I'm guessing he went backstage and was like, "There's nobody there. There's nobody out there in the audience. It's about half full. Why would we ever come back here?" Because it's a good enough show, and this is the other thing I'm getting at. It's a good enough show that more people should have gone. It was really good. Of course, it's a nerdy type of concert. If going to a concert where they're playing video game music does not sound like it appeals to you, well, they really might win you over in this case because it's very well done and it's very, it's gone way far and away above the 8-bit compositions that you normally hear, and so I had a really great time. And what made me happiest was there was a very wide range of video game music. It wasn't all retro. It wasn't all new stuff. It was kind of they didn't go from like, they didn't do like a retrospective from beginning to end. They jumped around a lot. But just when I was thinking like they really should do more retro stuff, then they start coming out with, they did a whole set on Castlevania. And and then at the very end they did an entire run of the Chrono Trigger Chrono Cross songs. Not nearly enough, but they did, like that has such a good soundtrack. You could do an entire set on that and you'd be happy. So they did games you might not expect, like stuff that would really kind of bring you back, like Outrun. They did a series on Outrun. The strangest choice I thought was, well, there was a couple, but they did a really prolonged set on Tron, which I thought was bizarre. It was, like I said, very well done. The orchestra, the symphony was surprisingly good, and I hate to insult the Mesa Symphony by saying they're surprisingly good, but they were really good. A lot of power coming out of them, and you don't expect that from a relatively smallish orchestra. A lot of power. They were probably mic'd up to the gills, but they a lot of strength. And there was a choir there. And they got a lot of use out of the choir, which was a lot of fun. There were a few songs, and I'll get to. I remember they did a set on World of Warcraft where they did basically the songs from the intro video from World of Warcraft and a few other songs. But when the choir really got to go balls out was when they went through a Final Fantasy VII suite and they did One Winged Angel. That whole Sephiroth thing. Yeah, that was they had a lot of fun with that. And the best part of that one was when they started doing Final Fantasy VII and just rocking out to fucking Sephiroth, like killing people on the screen and shit like that. Tommy is rocking the shit out on a guitar. His big thing is he switches guitars between every song, and so he's got like he's got like a Spider-Man guitar, a camouflage guitar. For no real reason, he was very proud to point out that for Final Fantasy VII, I'm busting out my steampunk guitar, and it's got little knobs and gears on it, and it has a sniper rifle on the guitar, and he was very proud of this. And I was like, that has nothing to do with Final Fantasy VII, and then he's just like, Sephiroth, and just starts rocking out. And the best part of this was he got his steampunk guitar, and there's this dude in the symphony orchestra who's rocking a double bass, the big fucking bass, the biggest fucking instrument, on the stage next to the piano. Double bass. This dude's got the fucking long hair. He's got hair going down to like here, and he's rocking, like he's double bassing the shit out of One Winged Angel. He's head back, and Tommy sees this guy, and it's like, that is fucking metal! And like, Tommy's up there like rocking out to this thing, he's got his knee up on like the guy's chair, and they're both like just headbanging the shit, It was fucking awesome, just watching these guys do the Sephiroth song, and just headbanging like it was the most metal thing they'd ever played in their life. And so yeah, Tommy was really, What elevates this from being a really nerdy adventure is the fact that Tommy has so much energy and so much enthusiasm for what he does. And this is what I got out of it. This was actually kind of inspirational to me, and you guys wouldn't get this out of it probably, but I got this. Just watching Tommy up there, you can tell that he's doing what he loves to do, and he's having a fucking blast doing it. So, watching the headbanging shit, you'd be like, that's funny, that's funny. I'm like, you know what? That dude is in heaven right now. He is rocking he's blowing the roof off this place, playing fucking Final Fantasy VII music, and he's having so much fun doing it. And he's having the most metal time of his life. He's meeting fucked up bass players, just headbanging and shit. And he's doing what he loves. And that's kind of like what I think maybe like I needed to be reminded of that. Sometimes when like the other day I was trying to get in front of the camera and I wasn't feeling it. Life kind of sits on my head sometimes, and like I wasn't feeling it the other day. I couldn't be, wacky Spoony, and I got really down on myself because you can kind of get into a spiral when that happens. You got to have a lot of high energy, and you got to have a lot of enthusiasm for this sort of thing. And when you don't always have that, it gets frustrating, and you start to bash on yourself, and then you're never in the mood to get in front of the camera, and then you start to lose a lot of confidence, and then it starts to, as a performer, that can kind of wear on you. And so then the stress gets on you and the enthusiasm kind of wanes. And so people would start to think like that you like, what are you complaining about? You talk about fucking movies and you talk about fucking video games, like, and you're in a way you're right. What do I have to complain about? And so because I'm doing what I want to do. This is what I want to do. You should, miracle of miracles, I'm able to support myself for the most part on talking about goofy movies and video games, and you guys watch it and you guys enjoy it. And that's kind of my role and my responsibility is to entertain you guys. And so personal life, kind of be damned, you gotta kind of put that aside and put your game face on for this. And so you gotta realize sometimes that especially when you're an entertainer and stuff like that, and you're actually seeing any kind of success for that, that is, you're living the dream. Really. And that kind of inspired me, seeing Tommy up there just fucking headbanging his shit off and playing fucking Castlevania. I was like, you know what? I gotta get back in the saddle and start doing this stuff again. And so that it really did help me. It did kind of help my enthusiasm. So if nothing else, Tommy, you have inspired me. So I still got a lot of work to do, and so that's really where it starts to wear on you. I think is when you start to realize there's so much to do and there's so many demands on your time and so much, like it takes me all day to read emails and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it was inspiring to watch because we're in different lines of work, of course, but it was a lot of fun. Let me see. Like I said, strange choice for Tron. Because there's Tron video games, but I don't think they're exactly memorable for the music. And really, I think all they did was they kind of covered it was really just music from the score of the first Tron movie. And I'm going to take heat for this, but it's really not that memorable of a score. It's okay. And it was well done. But, I don't know. Not a great choice. I guess because it's video gamey they chose it, but I don't know. Probably would not have done that one. They did a set on Halo, which was really good. Tommy fucking... Oh, no, you know what? He brought the steampunk guitar was for Halo, not Final Fantasy VII. The camouflage guitar was for Final Fantasy VII. The steampunk guitar was for Halo. He was very proud of this. He's like, for Halo, I'm bringing out my steampunk guitar. I think it's very appropriate. And I'm like, how? No, he's like, and just like, whatever. He's fucking playing his steampunk guitar. Yeah, hang on. So yeah, we pretty much screamed our heads off for a lot of this stuff. But the best part was, I don't know if he was... I saw this guy in a video. They played like a video of video games live on the TV, and in the video they did a Halo thing, and there's this guy dressed like Master Chief who runs across the stage at the end of the Halo set with like a flag, and he starts waving the flag around. And so I don't know if it was the same guy or a cosplayer, because there was a cosplay contest on the stage before the show, and there was another Master Chief there. So I don't know if there's like just always a Master Chief, and they're like, hey, at the end of the song, run out with the flag and wave the fuck around. But the Master Chief guy comes out. And at the end of the song, his big moment, he runs out in there, and he's got this flag, and he's like, oh! So he's like all like, I'm fucking Master Chief! And like his entire breastplate, his chest piece, he's like, oh! And it pops off, and like his entire armor just flies off. And so he's got like this black nylon body stocking on underneath, and he looks down, and he's just like, completely just devastated by this. Master Chief was heartbroken. You could see he's like, oh, and we're just like, fail. And then he kind of recovered, because he was just like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm Master Chief. And like, but yeah, the Master Chief, he kind of screwed the pooch there. The worst part of the show. And again, this was another weird choice. And again, I'm probably missing out on some history between Tommy Tallarico and the designers of this game, but they did an entire set on, not an entire set, they did one song, but they were like, from Guitar Hero Aerosmith, we're going to get a fan who won a Guitar Hero contest before the show. I wasn't there for that. So, but they're like, we're going to have this guy come up on stage, and he's going to play on Guitar Hero Aerosmith's Sweet Emotion on stage. They got like a screen back there, and he's playing Sweet Emotion on there, and he's like, if you get 150,000 points, we'll give you a prize. And so he's like, Tommy's like, you got to do it on hard, and the guy's like, I can do it on expert. And so like they're like, all right, you play it on expert, you can play it on expert. So I don't really know why. Maybe Tommy's got some connection. Actually, I think in the program I saw a picture of him with Steve Tyler. Let me see. Actually, I bought the program. Let me see. I know he was with Steve Tyler. Yeah. I don't know. Tommy, you could see Tommy posing with Steve Tyler. And I don't... Why is Steven not wearing a shirt? I guess he never does. But, yeah, it says Steven Tyler, Guitar Hero, Aerosmith. Tommy's there. I don't know. Maybe he helped arrange the music. I don't know. But it was a really strange choice, and where it really tanked was the guy failed. The guy failed out on the song. So like at like 80%, just at the guitar solo kind of overwhelmed him, and the middle of the song, it just kind of crashed. And so it was Sweet Emotion, but the symphony was playing along. And Tommy was kind of playing the lead guitar part, or he might have, I don't know if he was playing bass or not. I wasn't really paying attention, but so like Tommy's playing, the symphony's playing, and then the song fails out, and pretty much the entire band just kind of gets confused. They're like, oh, and they just kind of stop, and Tommy's like, we'll give you the prize anyway! And they're like, thanks for playing half a Sweet Emotion to fuck off the stage. And we're like, yay! I'm trying to think of other stuff they did. The Mega Man was kind of compulsory. But, you would have complained if there wasn't any Mega Man in the fucking Video Games Live concert. Just that was probably the best. Well, I keep saying there's so many best parts, but just in terms of sheer musical performance, that might have been really one of the best parts. Aside from they really busted their ass on the Final Fantasy VII Suite, but Mega Man. This is going to come a great shock to you guys, but Mega Man, the entire fucking series, had the most awesome goddamn music. I swear to God. They did a set on Street Fighter, which was good, but not. They didn't play Guile's theme. Damn it, I guess that would have been kind of lame. I don't know. Let me think. They did a really great set on Assassin's Creed 2, which was kind of unusual, but really good. What else? Assassin's Creed 2, God of War. They did a set on God of War where the choir really got to bust their ass and show off what they got. That was a good one. Halo Punch-Out. Not Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, the arcade Punch-Out. Again, unusual choice, but no problem there. Outrun was kind of weird. They did a live performance that was kind of improv to Space Invaders, where they got a guy on stage. They had him put a T-shirt on of the Space Invaders ship, and they had him run back and forth on the stage, shooting the spaceships on the screen, that was fun to watch, although it didn't really go anywhere. It was just, he was like, run to the left, run to the left, run to the right. Run. And the guy actually really sucked at Space Invaders, so he kept shooting the ships in the middle. And Tommy was like, you suck at this game, you suck, shoot the ships on the side. And so, like, Tommy's like, you're ruining the concert, dude. Oh, God. The real star of this show, what was surprising to me, was they had a vocalist up there. Trying to find her name here. The conductor was really awesome, too. At first, I thought he was kind of low-key. Usually, you'd kind of expect a really bombastic, kind of, like, flailing type of conductor. But this guy kind of grew on me. He was Wataru Hokoyama, who apparently he composed the music to Resident Evil, several Resident Evil games. And so this guy the guy was actually a lot of fun. He had a lot of personality. Like I said, he was kind of low key, but he was very intense. So he actually brought some gravitas to, like, you know, he's playing some fucking silly game, you know. But he was really like Super Mario. You know, they did Super Mario Brothers, and he a lot of weight and a lot of, you know, him and Tommy kind of have this kind of dueling type of relationship where they kind of fuck with each other on stage. It's kind of silly, but the real star of this one, to my surprise, was the flautist and the vocalist that they had on stage several times, probably a half dozen times. Laura Intravia, who's you probably know her best from YouTube. She was Flute Link. She does this routine where she plays the flute and she's dressed as Link, which probably has made me the most sexually confused I've ever felt towards a male video game character since, like, Mr. B Natural. She was hot and dressed as Link and hot. She was wearing, like, the skirt, and she has legs, and they're hot. Yeah, and she's like, what was funny was, there are certain musicians, like, if you're a musician, and you see a person like Laura up on stage, you hate her because she is so goddamn good. You're just like, I quit. You're like, I can never be as good as this. Like, she is fucking amazing when it comes to playing the flute. I swear to God. Where she really turned it loose and was like fucking just unstoppable was she did a Super Mario suite where she dressed like Super Mario. And she played, like, every Super Mario game on, like, major consoles from one to Super Mario on the Wii. She did, like, this suite where she just, like, fucking blitzed through every one of these medleys on the flute. And she was like, you ever see that scene in Anchorman where, like, fucking flame is coming out of her flute? That didn't happen, but it might as well have. You know, she kind of inspired me to make, like, a Flute Hero game. And they should do that, a Flute Hero, where you got, like, fingerings going on there and shit like that. But she played, when she just, you couldn't even see her fingers move. They were going so fucking fast. When she, like, you know, the song when you get the invincibility starts, like, she played that at, like, twice speed, like, double speed. You're like, this is fucking crazy, dude. The part that made me mark out the most, like a schoolgirl, was they got her on stage, and she was already fucking gorgeous. And then they're like, we don't do this song that often, but since we got Laura here, she's been wanting to do this song. And we're like, ooh, what could it be? And then the theme for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater hits, and she starts to sing Snake Eater. And I was like, because I love that fucking song. It makes no sense. but it's a really good song. Metal Gear Solid 3, it really is one of my favorite games, like, ever. Not because the gameplay is all that great, it's pretty standard Metal Gear, but because it's, like, I think it's probably, like, the best pure example of, like, really cinematic storytelling in gaming. You know, all the Metal Gear games are really good that way, but Metal Gear Solid 3, to me, was actually, like... Metal Gear tends to ramble a lot with all its conspiracies and giant robots and people who can turn into other things and, you know, psychic dudes who make your controllers move and crosses and double crosses, triple crosses. To this day, I don't know who Revolver Ocelot is working for. The dude is like, I think at one point he is literally a triple agent for the CIA or the Patriots. Like, he's Patriots working for the CIA, who's defected to the KGB, but he's still a double agent for the CIA, which means he's a triple agent for the... You know, fuck, Jesus Christ, this guy. And so, like, then he's being possessed by, you know, Liquid Snake, but is he or is he not? He's, like, hypnotized himself to act like... You know, conditioned to act like Liquid Snake, and you're like, what the fuck is with this guy? Metal Gear Solid 3 is basically like a spy movie in video game form, and it's brilliant. I love this thing. But yeah, the song is what really sells you on this whole kind of Bond movie type thing, where it was awesome. It was really good. And so, like, that was kind of the squee moment for me, was the Snake Eater thing. I was gonna say something. A little known fact. This will make you laugh. Listening to the Sephiroth thing for Final Fantasy VII reminded me of something that I have never done. You won't believe this, but I have never finished Final Fantasy VII. I didn't do it. Now, it wasn't for lack of trying, okay? Here's the thing. I played the shit out of Final Fantasy VII. Like, I got a PlayStation. It was one of the first games I got. I think the first game I got was Metal Gear Solid, the first one. But probably the second one I got was Final Fantasy VII. And I played that game from beginning to end. I pretty much 100%ed that bitch. Well, like, I even got, like, the fucking rare chocobos. Like, I played the shit out of that. And I even beat the weapons. I remember beating the weapons. I got Knights of the Round and shit like that. Oh, man, I did all that shit. But I put off fighting Sephiroth. I never did that. So, I remember I was going to my grandma's house or something like that, and so we come back, and I was looking forward to this the whole trip, because I was like, oh shit, I didn't get to fight Sephiroth. And like the whole trip, I'm wanting to go home. I want to fight Sephiroth. I want to see how the story ends. So, I come home. My brother and I had memory cards. We each had our own memory card. And so I took my brother's memory card out, I put my memory card in, and I fire up Final Fantasy VII, and I load the sumbitch up, and I load my game, and it goes, this save file has been corrupted. I had literally saved just before the final fight with Sephiroth, and my save game got corrupted. And I only had one save game. I know some people save in like multiple slots and have lots of different saves so they can kind of relive their favorite boss battles. I didn't do that. I had one save. So, to this day, I have not seen the ending to Final Fantasy VII. I think I know generally how it ends, where basically the asteroid hits the planet and they stop it with the power of heart, which is bullshit. Whatever. I remember the ending is bullshit. Let's just put it that way. Again, I'm going to catch heat for this, but pretty much when I heard how the ending to Final Fantasy VII went down, where they cast the big spell holy and it doesn't work, and then they all kind of join hands and sing, and then the power of love drives the meteor away. That is so gay. It's really gay. Oh man. Again, I'm sure I'm going to get 100 fucking links to the ending of Final Fantasy VII, and I'll watch it. But yeah, that was one of the biggest no moments. Was I never saw the ending to that. Jesus Christ. Um, trying to think what else. Going back to the venue being small, I felt bad for that band or the symphony orchestra. I felt bad for them because that was a really small stage for them. There was not a square inch of free space on that stage. They must have been sweating like pigs. Because they must have had like a 40-member choir. Probably 3 times that for the orchestra. They were cramped in there. They were packed in. I felt so bad for them. Local orchestra too, which was kind of unusual. I thought they would. I don't know why I thought they toured. I mean, Tommy and the core guys, like the conductor, they tour, but for some insane reason, I thought the orchestra toured. I don't know why I thought that. They'd have to like book out entire planes, but yeah, they conduct like local orchestras apparently. I'd check it out, especially since I actually bought the DVD, so I don't know if the DVD is any different. But what he was saying was on stage that that if you come back, they're doing like a second iteration of the concert. They're like retooling for a new kind of phase of the concert where they're going to shake things up. But what they're doing is he gets up there and he says, we realize there's a lot of songs you want to hear, and we're going to try to play all the songs you want to hear. But, we have about 18 different little sets that we do. And we have like 80 that we can do, but we can only do like 18. So, apparently, like any given time you go see video games live, it's going to be kind of a different show. Because they probably leave the basic ones in there. Like, they do like a retro medley of like Donkey Kong and Mega Man and stuff like that. Those probably aren't going anywhere. Castlevania, probably a safe bet, is always going to stay there. Mega Man and probably Street Fighter is always going to be there. But, I'm guessing there's like a half dozen to, 8 or 9 that they probably kind of shuffle in and out depending on the show. And that kind of keeps it fresh. That's kind of cool. I'm trying to think what else to say. They do need to work on the crowd participation scenes because that was a lot of fun, but it was kind of clunky. So, like the Guitar Hero thing, they didn't really know what to do when the guy failed. They were just like, that happened. Sorry. So we got a new song. It's Tron. And we're like, okay. The Space Invaders thing was kind of funny, but I don't know that it was really all that. I don't know if there was like a guy backstage playing the Space Invaders thing or what, but there's probably other ways they could do this. I'm trying to think of stuff they didn't do that I would have liked to see. My choices probably would have been kind of fringe. They did StarCraft 2, which kind of raised in my mind, they should do like the first Command and Conquer game. The first Command and Conquer had really iconic music. That whole march thing, the whole Nod March, which I thought would be kind of cool if they ever tried to do that. They gotta cut the Aerosmith thing. That was really like the far and away like the most what moment of the, I mean, like they're like, oh, Guitar Hero, that's a video game. We can like this is also from a video game. We're like, it's Aerosmith. Nothing wrong with it. It was played well, but it wasn't. That was kind of that was head scratching. Other stuff they could have done. Trying to think what other games I remember used to have really good soundtracks. Metal Gear. They didn't do Metal Gear, which I thought. Well, they did Snake Eater, but they didn't do like the that whole little the best is yet to come type thing, the ending theme, and which was kind of funny because they had the vocalist who could have done it. Again, this is nitpicky. Like you could go to any given show and like the next show you go to, they probably do an entire Metal Gear Solid set. Although what was funny was they did to hype the crowd up. They actually played like this little codec thing where they actually had David Hayter in the Solid Snake thing where like the lights are out and you hear this bling bling and he's like, "Can you hear me? Is anyone out there, Colonel? There's no one out there." And he's like, make some noise if you can hear me. And we're like, yay. And he's like, I couldn't hear you on this codec. Speak louder. And we're like, yay. And he's like, all right, welcome to Video Games Live. a surveillance camera, but yeah, I thought they were launching into the Metal Gear Solid thing, and then they just kind of went into like Donkey Kong, and it was like whatever. So no Katamari Damacy. They played Katamari Damacy in the intermission, but I actually thought they might go there. Not so much. They didn't do that. Ghouls and Ghosts was a really good one, where they were doing like I said, they did like a retro medley from the beginning. But Ghouls and Ghosts is one of the better performed ones they did. Really fun. I'm rambling now, so I'll just head it off there by saying, Video Games Live was a lot of fun, and Tommy Tallarico is a really good showman when it comes to making it exciting and making it to kind of modernizing these kind of retro things, especially stuff that you would not expect to be retro, because they even did they did Pong. They did a little rock anthem to Pong. So you can really tell that these guys are having a lot of fun, and that's the point. So it really is like the weakest part of the weakest part was, again, the small crowd, was because we actually had a very lively crowd, but you could tell that it was kind of half strength, and so this is the kind of thing where you really want people singing along, like when Tetris comes up and they're doing the hey hey hey, and they're Tommy's like trying like a trooper to get people to sing along with the Castlevania, sing along with the Tetris, and do the Sephiroth thing. He was actually coaching us to sing the chorus to the Sephiroth thing, and we're just kind of like Sephiroth, but there was a lot of that was stuff like that makes it so much fun. Oh, I remember now. Another thing I would have cut, and I love this Laura chick to death. She was amazing when it comes to. She was like a great vocalist and a great flautist. But the worst part was the encore. I felt so bad because I wanted the encore to be awesome, and it really was a dud. It even was like kind of a dud with the live crowd. And when you hear what it is, I think you'll kind of know why. It was Still Alive from Portal. I don't mean to bash on the Colton. I love the Colton. The Colton is awesome. Still Alive was and still is pretty awesome. That being said, the joke is kind of dead. It's real dead. The whole cake thing, it's over. And I wouldn't say, I think there kind of needs to be an intervention. Maybe it's just me. The crowd wasn't that into it, but maybe it was just me projecting my own apathy on the show. Like I said, I was very jazzed about the show, but the ending was kind of a dud. It was just, like I said, I actually feel really bad about picking on the show, because even the stuff that didn't really click for me was still very well done, if that makes sense. Like even the Aerosmith thing, watching somebody play the Guitar Hero thing and listening to Tommy playing, there's nothing wrong with hearing Tommy Tallarico play fucking Aerosmith, okay? I was like, it was not what I would have put in there, but it was still a lot of fun, and if you're any kind of Aerosmith fan, you can't complain about Aerosmith being done well, and it was done well. But like I said, the Tron thing, not my thing, but very well done. In fact, much better done than I would have expected it to be done. But the Portal thing, not good. Well, I can't even say not good. Well done, but Portal is so dead. The cake thing. Ooh, over. It has to die. You have to, there is no cake anymore. It's gone. It's one of those things now where it's kind of become an anti-meme. It's kind of one of those things where anytime anyone mentions cake on Twitter, there's always, you kind of roll your eyes because there's going to, no matter what context cake is mentioned in, hey, look at this birthday cake I got for my birthday. It's shaped like Super Mario. And, somebody posts a picture of their cake. There's always going to be this one inevitable son of a bitch who's like, the cake is a lie! And then you're like, oh, yes, you played Portal 2. Thank you. It's kind of one of those things where, you can't even mention fucking cake anymore, because the fucking cake line is going to be mentioned, and so, it's kind of one of those things where like anytime there's a rock band being played on stage, or like the game Rock Band being played on stage, somebody's like, play Still Alive. The girls always want to sing Still Alive, and we're like, no, it's so bad. It's like here's the here's the other thing that pisses me off. This is totally unrelated, but kind of the anti-meme for me. You've heard me bitch about this before if you've heard me on like live stream. Doctor Who. There's a line from Doctor Who that every fucking Who fan loves to parrot like a fucking... I was going to say sheep, but parrot like a sheep doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, they love to parrot it like it's the fucking most brilliant, poignant line they ever heard from Doctor Who. And it's whenever anyone mentions time travel or how time travel doesn't make sense or like a time paradox or something like that, they always bust out with the fucking wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey thing. And like, so anytime, I can't even mention fucking time travel on Twitter of any kind. Because every time I do, I get like 300 fucking timey-wimey tweets, and it fucking pisses me off. Go to hell. I'm sorry. I kind of come unleashed when it comes to that, yeah. I'm so tired of that line. That line is nowhere near as good or as funny as you think it is. Maybe it was at one point, but after hearing it like 9,000 times, and yeah, I have pretty much literally heard it 9,000 times. God. It's pretty much on the same level as the Still Alive song. It's like, yeah. I guess I'm picking on the song unfairly, and I don't mean to leave you with the impression that that was not a fun show, because it was. It was a lot of fun, and I actually want to go again. And I don't often say that for like I don't usually watch a movie again, even though I have 1,000 fucking movies upstairs. I do watch some movies again, but usually when I see a movie in the theater, that's kind of it. If I ever see a concert, that's kind of it. Like the Renaissance Festival. I've seen... What's funny is the Renaissance Festival doesn't really change all that much. So, like, when I go to the Renaissance Festival, it's kind of over for me. I don't usually plan to go back. And so, I actually went back to the Ren Fair last year, and not much had really changed. Dead Bob's still doing his same act, and... oh well. But yeah, just because there's so much ground to cover with Video Games Live, so many different sets they could do, and the fact that Tommy is even like, we're going to do a meet and greet after this. If there's anything you wanted to hear, or you think we could have done better, or you didn't want to hear, tell us about it. We'd love to hear it. And so he really seems sincere. So like he really seems like he wants to play new stuff. He likes to play the classics, but he wants to play new stuff. And so I really think Video Games Live is kind of like this evolving little project he likes to do, and that's a lot of fun. So if it seems to me like this, every time you go, it's going to be something new and fun. And even if you're hearing old stuff, it's always good to hear that kind of stuff. They even played some Brental Floss before the show. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, I don't mean to ramble on anymore. And it was a much wiser investment of my time than watching TNA Impact, which was on tonight. Still haven't watched that one. But yeah, I'm going to leave you with this. Check it out. If Video Games Live is coming to your city, go check it out. Support these guys, because it was a kick-ass show. And they really do deserve your support. Because this is the kind of thing that really should keep going. This is something that if you're any kind of video game fan or nerd fan, it really is a nostalgic trip to the past, and it highlights the modern classics that you may not think of, when you think of really great orchestral scores, but when you see them performed, like God of War, the Assassin's Creed type stuff, really good orchestral scores that really deserve to be performed again. One last thing. I'm actually kind of curious about this game now. The composer, he says, now we're going to do a set on a game that I'm sure you haven't played. And we're like, what? And so he goes, it's called Africa. And it's a game where you go to Africa and you photograph animals. And we're like, huh. And he's like, yeah, it didn't do well in the States. Or like we couldn't even, like it didn't exactly pitch well in the States. it was much more popular in Japan. And so we're like, they're like, yeah, Americans like to kill things. They don't like to shoot them with cameras. And so he's like, but apparently there's a new version that is English. There's an English version in the States now called Africa with a K, and he played a set from Africa, which was actually really good. It was kind of like the video they showed for Africa, and the whole score was very reminiscent of Jurassic Park. In fact, there was a lot of imagery in the video that was reminiscent of like Jurassic Park 1 and 2, where like you're a cameraman and there's like the stampede of rhinos and shit, and you're driving a Jeep and you're like taking shots outside the Jeep, and you're like chasing these fucking zebras around and in your Jeep, and you're snapping photos of them. And like, so if you replace the zebras with velociraptors, it's kind of like Jurassic Park, but yeah, the soundtrack with the score with that was really quite spectacular. And again, it really helped that the orchestra had a lot of power to it. They were playing their hearts out, and that's something. Sometimes when there's a small orchestra, it sounds. I'm not making much sense, but here's an example. If you've ever heard the score to the movie Conan the Conan the Destroyer, and you compare that with Conan the Barbarian, the Conan the Destroyer had a much smaller orchestra, and you can really tell. This particular orchestra sounded way bigger than it actually was. Maybe it was just the fact I was live. I don't know, but it was really quite something. So yeah, I'm actually going to go look through my program. I was actually so excited that I didn't look through the program all that much, although it seems to be more pictures than anything. Oh, I guess that's true with most programs, but it's like here's a bio on Tommy, and here's pictures. Oh, and here's the conductor and the vocalist and the lighting crew. So yeah, check it out. Yeah, that's about all I got. So.